Over 200 FlySafair pilots are on strike for better pay and conditions. And Trade Union Solidarity says over 200 pilots will be on strike for 2 weeks. And that comes after Solidarity rejected FlySafair's 5.7% offer. They wanted 10.5% increase for this year and CPI-linked increases for the next 2 years. However, FlySafair has pointed out that pilots' salaries are benchmarked and they earn between 1.8 million rand and 2.3 million rand per annum. Let's speak now to Phuthego Mojapele, who's an aviation analyst, about the latest. Very good evening, Phuthego. Welcome to Power Business.
Hi, good evening, Tehillah. Thank you very much for having me tonight.
With the back and forth between Solidarity and FlySafair, it really looks like industrial relations have broken down. How did we even get to this point?
Look, Safari Air, which is SAFair, has been warned by the Solidarity last year already when they went on embarking on changing a shift roster of pilots. And the pilots mandated, or the union mandated their pilots that they are not going to accept those changes on the basis that they are not in line with the practice, which is the internationally recognized. And one thing that people need to understand is that the pilots cannot just work as if you are working in an office. It's highly regulated. Airline cannot just put them on a roster like you are putting your industrial employees on a shift pattern. It doesn't work like that. It is regulated by ICAO. It is regulated by IOTA. It is regulated by South African Civil Aviation Authority. Now, what SAFair has done in this regard, they did not take into cognizance of what the pilot body was saying in relation to how the shift patterns should be. Secondly, SAFair has been growing drastically, artificially so. And we all know that they're busy introducing new routes to Hoedspruit, Kruger, Mpumalanga. Frequencies are growing quite rapidly, but they are not improving on the conditions of the employment of the flight deck. Now, understandably so, the flight deck is the core of the business. If you start meddling with that, you are literally destroying the future of your airline. And that's what they should have done. That's what management should have done. And this narrative of saying the pilots of SAFair, the well-paid, they benchmark internationally, you're taking the highest paid pilot who has been there for years, which is the one that you are flagging on your statement. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the pilots that joined 5 years ago or 6 years ago, they are getting the same amount as those ones that they are flagging on their statement. So it is disingenuous that they failed to adhere to what the Solidarity was saying. And I think they're inconveniencing our customers, our passengers that are scheduled to fly with them, and I think management should really come to the party and avoid all this mess that is now about to be unfolding.
And it was just interesting how the 2-week strike happened, because firstly they were only going to strike for a day, and then it happened. Then FlySafair said that it would be a lockout for a week, and then the union Solidarity saying that it would actually extend it to 2 weeks. How much leverage do you think pilots have in this scenario? Because of course they ground the planes. They can ground the planes.
Look, like I said, the airline, for it to exist, they rely entirely on the flight deck. If you don't have pilots, you don't have an airline. And what has happened here is that, and this is to show you that indeed the Solidarity had firm on what they were demanding. And they're not unreasonable, by the way. Let me just say, I agree with Solidarity. There are days that I don't agree with unions, but on this one I agree with them fully. And I think with my other colleagues that I know for a fact, they are not well remunerated as compared to the others. And what will happen now is that we will see low morale on the staff. We will see low on passengers that should be booking SAFair, meaning that the business would subside. And if other operators that are already operating can take advantage of the situation, then we will see the growth that they are enjoying might not be something that they will realize in the near future, because once you have inadequate trained and experienced pilots, composition of your business, there is no way that you are going to win the business and the hearts of the people, because time is essential for business, and many other components that make the airline to be successful in the industry. So maybe this time around they may not get it right. I think SAFair needs to wake up and try and deal with the situation much better than the way they are dealing with it, and not show the pilots other side that they really would not wish to see.
One of the ways that this could be potentially resolved is the CCMA. The CCMA has offered to intervene and to mediate. Why has this route not been explored yet?
Well, I guess, the previous experience that they had when the shift roster pattern was introduced, and I think they have considered that before, and I believe that in respect to the complications of the flight deck shift patterns, it might not necessarily work or be understood by the other people that would like to intervene in this regard. Because, as I said in the beginning, this is not just we're not talking about industry here, where a factory where you just put people there. There's regulations, layers and layers of regulations.
I believe the airline industry is one of the most regulated industries, then followed by pharmaceuticals, and then maybe banking.
And complicated, by the way, very complicated. So you need sober-minded people that can run that aspect of the business, that will understand how things should be done. Because to be honest with you, it's not like other airlines. They don't have the similar problems of employees that that want increase. I mean, all the airlines, they do have employees that want increase and so on. But the management of that process, the management that manage that process, they do it in such a way that it doesn't cost the airline money. Because at the moment, this is going to cost the airline a lot of money, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and just a final question then. What happens to the passengers who have booked or have, because the flights, as I understand it, are not operating between 21st to 28 July, many flights?
Sorry, I missed. My line got bad there for me. If you may repeat the question again, my apologies.
What should passengers do if they hold a FlySafair ticket for the next week or so?
Well, at the moment, they are sending notifications to all the passengers that have been confirmed to fly, either rerouting them or rescheduling them for a much later time or later date. But what I've been monitoring since early this morning here in Cape Town, there has been a small adjustment on the schedule, mainly on time. And mainly on time, to be quite honest with you. Those that have been cancelled have been rerouted to other later flights. For example, tomorrow, the Nelspruit Kruger, it was scheduled to leave at 9 o'clock, so it's going to leave at 12:30 midday. So the schedule is still there operating. Bloemfontein out of Cape Town was affected. They've cancelled it completely. So there was no flight today. So they probably would feed the passengers into Airlink or other airlines that they have relationship with in the likes of South African Airways.
All right, thanks very much. That's Phuthego Mojapele, an aviation analyst.